Religion in schools has always been a highly debated and controversial topic. It brings forth questions about the separation of church and state, freedom of religion, and the role of education in shaping young minds. Those in favor argue that teaching religion in schools allows for an understanding and appreciation of different faiths, while opponents claim it's an infringement, secular education, and may lead to the promotion of a specific religion. In this debate, we will explore the arguments from both sides and analyze the impact of religion in schools. Proponents of religion in schools argue that it helps foster a sense of tolerance and understanding among students. They believe that by learning about different religions, students can develop an appreciation for diverse cultures and traditions. This exposure may lead to a more inclusive society, where individuals respect and accept different belief systems. Additionally, proponents suggest that religion can provide moral guidance and values, which are often seen as universal principles that can benefit students regardless of their personal faith. On the other side of the spectrum, opponents argue that introducing religion in schools goes against the principle of separation of church and state. They believe that public institutions, such as schools, should remain neutral and not favor any particular religious belief over others. Moreover, opponents express concerns about the potential for indoctrination or proselytizing, where students may feel pressured to conform to a specific set of beliefs. They argue that education should focus on critical thinking and scientific inquiry rather than religious doctrine. Critics of religion in schools also raise concerns about the exclusion of non-religious students or those belonging to minority religions. They argue that by teaching a specific religion, schools may inadvertently marginalize students who do not identify with that faith or belong to a religious minority. This exclusion can lead to feelings of alienation and discrimination, undermining the principles of diversity and inclusion in education. Critics propose that religious education should be solely the responsibility of families and religious institutions outside of the school system. Another point of contention revolves around the teaching of religious creation stories alongside scientific theories like evolution. Supporters argue that presenting both perspectives allows students to analyze and compare different explanations for the origins of life, encouraging critical thinking and intellectual curiosity. However, opponents contend that science classrooms should strictly focus on empirical evidence and established scientific theories, rather than including religious beliefs or myths that lack scientific consensus. The contentious issue of prayer in schools also arises in the religion in schools debate. Advocates for prayer argue that it allows students to express their religious beliefs and find comfort or solace during their school day. They claim that prayer can have positive effects on students' mental well-being and sense of community. Conversely, opponents assert that school-sponsored prayer violates the principle of religious freedom and may create a coercive environment, pressuring students to participate in religious practices against their will. In conclusion, religion in schools remains a highly contentious and divisive issue. While proponents argue that it promotes tolerance, understanding, and moral values, opponents raise concerns about the separation of church and state, exclusion, or potential indoctrination. Striking a balance between respecting religious freedom and maintaining neutrality in public institutions is a complex task. It requires ongoing dialogue and consideration of the diverse perspectives within society. As society evolves, so too must the discussions and policies around religion in schools, ensuring that the education system remains a place of both intellectual growth and inclusivity.